Today in this video, we're going to be talking about the improvements made in the horse racing industry towards the treatment of the horses. First off, what is horse racing? Horse racing is an equestrian sport typically involving multiple horses and their riders racing a set distance and competing against each other. Horse racing itself began in 4500 BC in Central Asia among the nomadic tribesmen and has flourished since then as the sport of the kings. A lot of research has been done on this sport, and a couple of the topics I'm going to be talking about today are the amount of training these horses do, how feeding works for these horses, and the connection between the trainer and the horses themselves. Let's dive deeper into these topics. The first topic we're going to talk about is training itself. How much training is done on a horse a day is dependent on the trainer, really. The amount of training is around 30 minutes to an hour, can sometimes be a little more. A lot of people believe these horses are being overtrained or overworked, but a lot of research has been done into this aspect of the sport to make sure these horses are working just enough to make sure they are at peak performance for when they go into the racing season. These horses are athletes, and just like human athletes, they have to train a lot to get to that peak performance to be able to make sure they get that first place finish. Let's take another sport and compare their training times to horse racing. Let's use gymnastics as an example, as I was in gymnastics. At the age of 14, I was practicing for about 14 hours to 20 hours a week, depending on if I had a competition that weekend or not. So that averages out to be around 4 to 5 hours a day if I practiced 4 days a week. When comparing these times, you can actually see that these horses are practicing less than most other sports, really, not just gymnastics. This should show if human athletes are putting themselves through more training than these animals are being put through, that along with the research being done, these horses are not being overworked. Moving on to the next topic, which is feeding, I'm going to talk about how much time and effort these trainers go into making these diets for these horses to make sure they are getting all of the nutritional values they need to help make sure these horses are able to race at their peak performance. On average, a horse owner will spend around $1,405 per year to feed a single horse. These trainers take a lot of time and care to make these specific diets for each horse, as each horse needs something different in their diet. There's a lot of research done on each specific type of feed and what it does to help the horse. These trainers can look at this research and use it to better understand what specific feed each specific horse needs to get back the energy they just lost after training. These trainers spend a lot of time coming up with these diets to give to their horses, and this shows the care these trainers have for their horses because they want to make sure these horses are happy and live long so they can have a long and successful racing career. This leads me into my last topic that I'm going to be talking about today, which is the connection between the horse and the trainer themselves. This connection is super important because each of them need to understand the cues that are being given and the feelings that are out there that sometimes cannot always be expressed. There is a lot of research done on understanding how the horse is expressing their feelings and how it gives the cues to the trainer of what it is feeling. And so it is important for the trainer to be well versed on these researches because without them, the trainer cannot fully understand their horse. And without fully understanding their horse, they cannot be the best team they can be because without the other, one cannot function. Throughout this video, I have not been trying to persuade people to believe that the horse racing industry is completely abuse-free, as it is not. There's always going to be those bad cases in the industry, just like any other sport. You can never get away from bad coaching. My main purpose of this video was to help the public be able to see the good of this industry, as there is so much of it that is just not shown all the time. These trainers, these horse owners, they do truly care for these horses. They are using the research that is being done in the industry to help better their own horses' lives. And the main thing is that I know the industry is not perfect, but it is getting there. It is getting close to as perfect as it could be.